And finally, we have our global properties. This one's cool. If I were to select this, it's going to change our little settings menu over here. We're now looking at global properties. And what we can do here is adjust a few basic controls. We have contrast, which just adjusts the contrast of the HDRI map in the background and affects kind of our lighting and what it looks like. If we crank this up, it actually does look pretty cool on our object here. So we're going to go ahead and crank that a little bit, set to 2. And we also have exposure, just like before, just kind of adjust the brightness. Maybe we'll up that to 1.5, 1.25. And what's interesting about the exposure and all our global controls here is, as their name would imply, this affects all of our lights, completely uniformly controlling our entire scene. Rotation will do this as well. This will not rotate how the background appears, but this is actually rotating how that HDRI is actually reflecting on your object. So you can see I can actually flip it. Instead of being 0, which is the default, light on the right, light on the left, I can flip it, drag it all the way to 3.14, which is the maximum. Now we've done the opposite. The pink is on the right and the blue is on the left. So this can be an option to kind of offset the HDRI a little bit on your object in a global scene way if you want to do that. And finally, which is the reason I'm actually here, is our environment map background. If I uncheck this, what this does is disable the background, so we're no longer seeing the HDRI. Instead, we're just seeing a solid color. And that's where we have our background color down here. If I go ahead and click this, we can darken this down a little bit, or potentially just set it to black. And now, if we full screen this, we can see we got this really cool kind of lighting setup going on our sphere here, where the right side is blue and the left side is pink. We got this kind of nice fall off going on here in the middle. What's also cool, and this is a very interesting function you can do, which is called Fix Environment Map Direction. This one might be a little bit confusing on what it's doing, but basically, if I go ahead and enable our environment background again, notice how in this scene, it's an actual world that is locked into place and our object is sitting in it. To our left is that pink light, to our right is the blue light. But if I go ahead and turn on Fix Environment Map Direction, this is actually going to lock that the entire 3D world to our view, meaning no matter where I look, that map is going to follow me. You don't see it actually in the viewport. You don't actually see that moving there, but it actually happens in 3D space. So if I take our environment map background, just disable it because we don't need to see it now. As I pan around, notice something that happens. We always see blue, no matter where I look. So we have actually manipulated that map where this blue down here is always directly behind us, and this pink is always directly in front of us. So to kind of give you a visualizer of what's actually happening, imagine if we were to move our camera, if I uncheck environment direction, if I would move our camera like this, where the blue is directly behind us and the pink is in front, you'll notice when we turn environment map direction on and off, it doesn't change very much because it's almost looking exactly the same direction. So this can be particularly useful if you have a map that you made that looks good from one angle, but as you pan around, you lose that angle, and then it doesn't look great anymore. This is a way you can enable this to always be able to give your customers an ability to pan around and always have that same lighting. So say I like this blue front with the nice kind of halo of the pink, I can simply enable Fixed Environment Map Direction, and now I just always will have that lighting. I don't have to worry about it looking great from one angle and now the customer's panning and now the lighting is ruined. So I can always lock that in and just always have that option available for them. Particularly nice use case scenario for different areas, different products that need perfectly directed lighting that doesn't change too much as customers pan. Great feature for that.